First is
A
for
lot
the
of
week.
us as business people don't scale up our capacity alongside our business.
In the end, I feel like creativity also is just not conforming to certain standards. It's you breaking out of the ordinary.
So, I don't know. This guy really talk about mindful photography. Mindful photography in what sense now?
So basically, I think here it's talking about mindful photography, saying that mindful photography is the practice of slowing down and becoming fully present while taking photos. It's less about technical perfection or gear and more about observing the world with awareness and intention. It is about noticing light, colors, and patterns, emotions, letting go of expectations, capturing moments as they are, not just for aesthetics, but for meaning. In contrast with the fast-paced, perfection-driven content creation culture, as of today, everything is just about content, fast, fast, fast. And now you're slowing down to be mindful about what you're creating and be intentional. And why is it trending? See, mental health awareness is on the rise, especially post-pandemic. People crave authenticity and connection, both with themselves and with the world around them. And social media fatigue is pushing creatives to discover the joy of seeing rather than performing. For example, what we shot earlier on about mental health awareness. Earlier on, the one we shot at, what's that place? Ushapa. So basically, from what I just get from this topic is talking about, it's the fast-paced world right now. Everybody's rushing for content. Everybody just wants to post content. And now for the photographer, sometimes you get lost by struggling and pushing to create, competing with the next person. And then you get overwhelmed before you know, creative block steps in. Mental health is draining because you're not enjoying what you're doing. What do you think about this? Like, what would you like to?
I feel like this is even taking us back to our reasons for even taking pictures in the first place. When you think back to why you started, think about what was driving you in the first place when you started to take pictures. Two things was driving you. Firstly, the desire to create, and then secondly, the desire to be seen. And when you are trying to be seen through your work, what do? You try to create something that would make people stop and look. Because if they don't stop to look, they won't see you. And that's why you think, okay, I want this stylist to talk about this. This is the issue that I'm trying to address with my photography. And that's what everybody, anytime I'm talking to like a fresh photographer, I'm always asking him, why exactly do you take pictures? What have you decided why you take pictures first? Because a lot of us, we find ourselves under mentorship for the business of photography. And that's why the art of photography is dying. So many people understand what clients want. I mean, we're trying to survive anyways, but it doesn't mean that the true point of the art itself should die because we want to survive. So that's how I see it. Back to why we started photography in the first place. Sending a message, telling a story, selling an image, selling an idea. And that's what it means to me to be mindful about your photography. So if you're selling an idea for a business, it is going to be clear when they see how you sell the idea, the representation of this idea. If you are selling it for a social cause, it's going to be clear by how you represent it.
Now, the problem is in this fast moving world now, how do you survive, for example, in an industry, having Nigeria as the location now, having to survive, demand for the market for photographers in Nigeria now, first of all, you think about, wedding photography, and then you think about portrait photography. Everybody just wants to do a birthday shoot and all that. Now, talking about your why, if that's, you want to do photography for the sake of us,
So, yeah.
how do you now survive with the, demands, and also you have to leave now. So there are certain kind of expenses you need money to
Yes.
sort your passion. How are you then? Because I'm thinking right now, because of these demands, people are struggling to just make ends meet. to even fuel their passion is least of their problems right
True,
now.
true.
So they are then driven by the demands of the market, and it gets to the point where they are just on the go and then they forget themselves. I think that is where this topic is now getting towards intentional storytelling. And then the setback would now be that some of these photographers now are not really enjoying what they are doing. Why? Because creative block now. Now we're talking about what is the whole idea of creative block. I think we so much ignore things like mental health. We are not really aware of the factors that affect mental health and how much more we need to put into, you know, maintaining our mental health. We don't really pay attention to it. In fact, if you ask an average artist here in Nigeria about mental health, they don't really say so much about it because they are clueless about it.
You know,
But these are these
Nigeria,
things that affect mental, that cause creative growth.
a common norm in Nigeria is stigmatizing you for admitting to have mental health
Yeah,
issues.
but mental health doesn't mean say it is psych or something. Mental health is just, it's just like physical health. If you don't work out, how are you going to do a 100-meter race?
I know
And
now,
how
but
do you function?
you get as me and you go the gist, even though you be my brother like this, you tell me say why if they act like person where they depressed, like they say you and who they do that one.
Yeah.
It's just crazy
We're
how
scared
our
of the whole
minds work.
stigma. But I think it's about time we start, having this kind of conversation about mental health. Because earlier on, I was having a conversation with a friend, and then we're discussing about causes of creative block and how to get out of it. Now, a lot of people don't even know how they got into creative block.
Creative block into
They don't even know. So I was now mentioning things. Why? Because I myself found myself in creative block situation. I had to like pull myself out. How did that happen? Okay. I realized that some of the factors will be, for example, you as a single photographer, you're shooting portraits or weddings, and over time you've gotten a number of clients, and the demand is there, but you've not outsourced these things, and you're the only one functioning. Say, for example, you have a logistic company and you have one bike, and then demands are coming, and you're stressing just that one bike. You're not going to be efficient, right? So you as one photographer, you're serving 20, 30 clients at the same time. At the point, it gets overwhelming. You're not even done with one job. You're already accepting the next one because you need to make ends meet. Now, at the same time, you're anxious about, the anxiety, I never finished this job. I'm jumping onto this one. Before you know, clients are asking, my pictures are not ready. This is that. You find yourself unstable. Now, by you rushing to deliver, you're not really creating or editing these pictures in a way that suits you or suits the client. You're delivering because you need to save time. Now you've lost the whole purpose of the art. And you're rushing. And no quality control is lost out of the way also. And then demand, you've asked a photographer, you've been shooting since when? They'll tell you, since 2020, since 2018. Have you gone to vacation? Have you rested? They never rest. They don't shoot. Do you understand? That's stress.
I'm not built to rest. That's a lot of
Thank you. The rest is
a
for
lot
the
of
week.
us as business people don't scale up our capacity alongside our business. Like our business is growing, but we're not growing our capacity because we are seeing. I don't know how people.
It's simple. We don't understand the business. You entered into
they don't
photography. I
understand
didn't care about the
concept of
business.
growth.
Didn't care how to develop yourself in the business. So all that stress combined, like,
Because as
causes
you are
that
growing,
onto
getting
you.
busier, you should have
Structures
in place to have hands that fill in each department as you're growing.
So now at the end, that anxiety and stress, weighs everybody down. And then before you know creative block, you're not enjoying what you're doing. But if at all, while you're stressing or you're under that creative, era block, whatever, how to get out of it? They'll say, read, take your mind off work. Now, can your business function without you?
Without you.
At that point now, they can't even rest because the business was never ever designed to function without the photographer or the videographer or whoever the creative is. That is a huge problem.
One thing where we they actually fuck up on this is real talk now. It just hits me say a lot of us they start brands without a clear brand message. Do you understand? A lot of us
The why.
Yeah, exactly. It is not clear. We want money. We know that it's camera we want to use to have it, but we forget that even in that very big industry where almost everybody they do them with purpose. Do you understand?
If you have purpose but you don't have structure, then it still boils back to what will affect
If
you.
you don't have purpose, there's no way you'll be able to set a structure.
Yeah, but the people who have purpose, but some people, you know why you're doing this thing. You started photography because maybe you're inspired by certain things. There's a certain kind of story you want to tell. There's certain things that inspires you. There's certain kind of fashion story you want to create or tell.
Now
But you don't have the structure.
you're speaking to purpose now. Right.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the way
But
it
structure
starts.
now. The problem is structure.
Then-
That is why you're having creative block. Now.
What am I structuring without a purpose?
Okay, you have a purpose, and that's your a purpose. You have a purpose.
Actually,
That's
the
why you're
structure-
shooting.
Funny,
But you don't have a structure.
That is a purpose. Your purpose is to just make money. Then you build a structure around it. Exactly. So my purpose might be to tell African stories. Then I build a structure around it.
Yeah, that is you that is aware or knowing this thing. So the
Exactly.
problem
Someone
here,
else going.
the
They're
problem
trying to
here in
build
the
a structure
industry.
around no purpose.
So what's the problem here in the industry? They do not build structure. Why? Because they found what they like doing, but they do not know how to build the structure. And the problem is how to build the structure. That is where the problem is. All this anxiety, creative block, however, mental health, whatever. Yes, they do not know how to build it. And first of all, one of the problems now we're having is the issue of mentorship because these young ones coming up, they just want to make money, but they don't want to learn how to. And this money comes with patience. It's long term. You need patience to learn it. You don't just rush. It's not a quick money scheme.
The first thing I learned when I started photography is that the whole process is a slow process, number one. Success takes patience, obedience, and madness. So you are required to understand that it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. And you have to listen to the people that have been there before.
Mentorship.
I read something. They say person where they advise you, if you get sense, person where they advise you, but still listen. But no, that's one thing people don't do. They don't listen. They don't know how to take a breath and listen to people. And then that madness, that is what we lack. That madness that makes you take daring steps in your business and in your art.
Risks.
Exactly. Take unconventional. Like there is a lot of things that I did in my shoots that the pre-wedding shoot I just attempted, just minutes ago. And ordinarily, I would have not just tried that, but I feel like I've evolved to some certain stage where it is my expression now that I am selling to clients, not just
An
what they say that they
experience.
want. Yeah, exactly.
In the end, I feel like creativity also is just not conforming to certain standards. It's you breaking out of the ordinary. It's you going out of the box. It's you. I don't think creativity works with conforming to a certain rule. That's my motto will be, oh, if I'm teaching you photography, I'll be like, learn the basics or learn the rules and then break it. You learn it and then you break it. That's how you survive in the creative space. Because creativity is not about being sane. It's about being insane, if that makes any sense. It's just doing, like you said, the madness. So we don't have those balls to, what would the people think? Oh, this is not the standard of photography. Oh, because certain photographer is collaborating this way. Everybody bandwagon.
Yeah, bandwagon.
Stick to your own, tell your own story and be you. At the end of the day, do it. If everybody is standing this way, tilt your own a little bit. Do something out of the ordinary.
To close, let's just leave you with this. To take mindful pictures, you have to follow the 3 steps because if you skip a stage, it is going to show. The first step is patience, like I said. The second step is obedience. Listen to the people that have been there before.
Yes, Daddy.
Everybody has done it. There's a template. To be successful is very easy. All you need is to be ready to be successful.
Yeah.
And the final thing is to be mad. You understand? Carry that your obedience and your listening spirit and merge it with a crazy hunger that separates you from everybody else. And trust me, the sky is your starting point.
Yeah, and then to close it down also is make sure you learn certain things you find yourself doing is even in the creative space. Learn to understand structures, why things work. Learn the business aspect. And for mental health, take care of that mental health because your creativity stems from the mental. Once it's messed up, no creative results. So first of all, take rest, understand that business, and if the business cannot survive without you, then you're joking. Yeah.
Okay, this video is sponsored by Global Arts Collectives. We are a creative agency that is dedicated to telling unique African stories and selling the best images to African brands, of African brands, and of Africa.
I'm telling the African story.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Peace and love and unity.
How you doing? I see how I'm